Hello, comrades, and welcome back to Ushanka Show. Здравствуйте, товарищи. Today I would like to touch the topic of Chernobyl one more time. And for those who don't know me, my name is Sergey, and I was born in the USSR. And in 1986, when Chernobyl tragedy happened, I lived in Kiev, just north of Chernobyl power plant. But first of all, let's learn another new Russian word, дневник. Dnevnik has two meanings in Russian language. It's your diary that you keep, and also dnevnik is school planner. So let's take a look at this photo. This is the picture, this is the page from my school planner, or as we call in Russian, dnevnik, from April 26, 1986, Saturday. If you watch my videos about Soviet education system, you should know by now that in Soviet schools, kids went to school 6 times a week. So from Monday till Saturday, we went to school, and the only day off we had was Sunday. So on Saturdays, we had 6 classes. First one, algebra, then physics, geography, Russian literature, physical culture, we call it physra, or physical education as they call it here in America, and foreign language, which in my case, I was studying English. It's kind of scary to look at that page right now, so many years later, because here I am sitting in school, having no idea that just 50 miles north of my school, there's a nuclear nightmare going on. Explosion happened, there's a fire, there's a horrible radiation situation, there's already firefighters are dying. And I'm sitting in school, just, as I said, 50 miles north of Chernobyl, grinding for classes, trying to finish my day. But radiation situation at Kiev wasn't bad then yet. The wind started blowing towards Kiev in early May, like May 1st, but on the 26th of April it was still fine. But when the wind from Chernobyl brought contamination and radiation, we still had to stay in Kiev all the way till end of May and pass our final exams, final tests, before we're allowed to leave. They canceled classes for younger kids, and a lot of kids left. They went to like summer camps down south to Crimea or other areas. And I recall our teacher of chemistry, she was pregnant at that time. She just quietly disappeared. She just left. I personally managed to leave Kiev only in the beginning of June. I believe it was around June 10. My parents talked to parents of a friend of mine who went to the same class, and we went to Leningrad to stay with his grandma. And I actually found my own letter that I wrote to my parents back in 1986, June 13, 1986. So I arrived to Leningrad. Actually, we lived in a little town on the outskirts of Leningrad called Sertolova, and I wrote my parents a letter with the report how was my trip. June 13, 1986. Greetings, my dear mother and father. I want to inform you that I arrived pretty well, but it was a very torturous trip. Our train car, number 11, was probably the worst out of the whole train. We couldn't open windows and ventilation didn't work. To make things worse, our place was right next to the bathroom, next to the toilet. Our train left Kiev, and only after several hours later, I realized how important was oxygen. Sun was also not helping. It was shining brightly, and it became super hot in the train. It was a real hell. At every train stop, I was trying to run outside and have a fresh air, at least for a minute, because inside of the train car, the air was very hot and stuffy. This torture lasted all the way to Leningrad, which is overnight train trip. But the most interesting things were waiting for us on the train station in Leningrad itself. Every passenger from Kiev had to go through the dosimetry control. Every person had to walk through this special dosimetry booth, which had a digital display showing the level of radiation. And if the level was way too high, there was then an alarm. My friend Valera made through just fine, but his grandma and me made the alarm. Anyone who created the alarm were transferred to the different line for frisking. When it was my turn to get frisked with the dosimeter, I was okay, except I noticed when they checked my shoes, the arrow rapidly went to the right. In case of Grandma, the problems was in the luggage. They opened her case and found out that her dress and Valera's pants were all having a high level of radiation, and it was her dress that she used walking in Kiev every evening. And here my memory kind of doesn't match exactly my letter, because I remember that when my shoes showed high contamination, they told me that whatever the place I'm gonna arrive, I need to bury my shoes in the ground, like dig the hole about 3 feet deep and put my shoes in there. Then the grandma's clothing, she had like this Angora sweater and a dress. So she walked every evening in Kiev, and her Angora sweater did the same. So they said, okay, along with his shoes, you need to put your sweater. But then I think they told her that there's a possibility she can deactivate it, but she needs to take it somewhere in the special place in Leningrad. But of course, during the Soviet Union, you don't just bury your clothes, because it's really hard to get a decent clothes. So this is, I wrote that Grandma today went back to Leningrad to deactivate her clothing. So this is what happened. I arrived to Leningrad with my shoes having radioactive dust, and Grandma's dress was having the same problem in my friend's pants. So I think that was the moment when, for the very first time, I realized how bad actually the situation was in Kiev. It was in Leningrad, because any train that was coming from south, from Belarus, from Ukraine, was cordoned off. They forced everyone to go through the dosimetry control, and they checked every person. And I remember, like, when I saw my shoes made the dosimetry just kind of peg high, I was like, whoa. And I remember looking back, and they were power washing the train cars. And I looked at my friend Valera, I was like, dude, it's really bad in Kiev. He's like, yep, I think so. So this is how I escaped Chernobyl fallout in the summer of 1986. I stayed in Leningrad for about a month, and the idea was that the worst elements, the half-life was around 30 days. So supposedly the situation in Kiev got a little bit better. This is what happened to me after Chernobyl accident. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for your support, for your likes, and we'll talk to you soon. До свидания. Goodbye. Hey, by the way, the cool merch for cool comrades is available at the Ushanka store at teespring.com. Just a friendly reminder that my book American Diaries is available on Amazon.com, or shoot me an email if you would like to have a signed copy. Thank you. And if you love my channel and would like to show your support, please click on the link below this video and become the patron of the Ushanka Show. For as little as $1, you can help us grow and create the new, interesting videos about the life in Soviet